Greetings, Gatehouse Insiders. In this episode, I'm speaking with Anna Lozynski, who is changing the face of the legal profession. We will be speaking about her new book, Legally Innovative, How to Maximise Your Legal W.O.W, her thoughts on innovation, the wonderful world of data, and how to overcome perfectionism. Make sure you subscribe to the Gatehouse Legal Recruitment YouTube channel to catch it all. So let's begin with what inspired you to write your book, Legally Innovative, How to Maximise Your Legal W.O.W.
So I'm going to start with a bold statement, which is that the transformation of the legal profession is happening magnificently slowly. And so I decided to write an eBook to inspire others to do law differently and to spread the value of having a progressive mindset and talk about new age lawyering on a wider scale. So I believe that legal innovation is invigorating, change is energising, and efficiency will never go out of fashion. And it's a topic and a mindset I'm extremely passionate about. The lawyer of the future, in my mind, needs to have a trifecta of intelligences. So it's the TQ, the technical, it's the EQ, the emotional, and what I call IQ 2.0, innovation intelligence. So my ebook is for lawyers of all stripes everywhere and law students to help them unlock their innovation potential, become an innovation maven and claim their innovation power. It's practical, it's deliberately provocative, and it cuts to the chase.
Nice. So how have you evolved your legal team to be more innovative and to use more tech?
So our L'Oreal Australia and New Zealand legal team has been transforming the way that it delivers its legal services since 2015. And I'm proud to say we are the first legal team within L'Oreal globally to embrace legal tech. So over the years we have developed a range of self-service apps where we've automated the high volume routine tasks such as NDAs, supply agreements, customer agreements, influencer agreements, employment agreements, and consumer promotions. We've also introduced electronic approvals, e-signatures, and digital storage of contracts. And we've also forayed into data. So we use online workload management collaborative tools, as well as having a bespoke legal matter management software. And this week we just launched our 13th self-service legal app for the Australia and New Zealand business.
What have you seen to be the benefits within your team and the business as a whole by implementing more innovation and more tech?
So there are many benefits to implementing legal innovation, and I'm going to name sort of the top three. So the first is incredible efficiency for the business. The second is perception and branding of the legal team. And third is data analytics. So, you know, to give you an example, for the full year in 2018, the Australian and New Zealand business generated almost 2,000 contracts at an average rate of 31 minutes per pop. And so if I do some quick maths, that's about a 500% efficiency improvement versus the manual processes, which is pretty incredible. It means we can do more with less to an extent, and sometimes we are, or in some instances, we're also delivering material dollar savings on top of the time efficiency. You know, rather than outsourcing the work to a law firm, because as a team of three we can't do it all, it means we can keep it in-house. We've got the control over it. It's robust, and you know, we're there to help if it's not working, because technology is not perfect. But we're also becoming data proficient. So since 2017, but really well into 2018, when we embraced a bespoke legal matter management software. We are really focused on using data as a way to communicate with the business in a way that resonates with them, but also understand where we're spending our time, how we're spending our time, and using those insights to continuously improve.
Moving on to the wonderful world of data, how has data helped your team make better decisions for the business?
So data is incredibly powerful, and we're learning that as a team, and I'm learning that as a General Counsel every day. And as I say in my ebook, it's dazzling. And so I think every lawyer has a sense of their workload, and they can articulate qualitatively what their workload's like, and perhaps where they're focusing their energy and time, or where the business is having them focus their energy and time. But to be able to talk about that quantitatively allows a legal function to position themselves and, as I said, communicate with the business in a way that resonates with them. So you can showcase your value add in live time in a single dashboard. You can articulate the productivity of a legal team in numbers. The team can use that, and we use that as a way to manage our work in progress meetings, so our weekly WIPs. And it just basically allows you to have insights, but also use it as a communication tool to show that you've got your legal fingers on, on the business pulse.
Yeah. Where does someone even start at capturing data?
So this is kind of a topic for an entire interview, really. But I think the bare bones have got to be, what are your current reporting requirements? So depending on your company's requirements, depending on whether you need to report up regionally or internationally or to an exec team or to a board, it's really about framing what are the current reporting requirements, and then to think probably next level, but at the same time keeping it simple. What are the other essentials, or what is the information or the insights that you're seeking to understand and to communicate out on? So I'm going to preface that data collection requires effort. So I do this, my team does this every day. We record, we literally enter data. So in order to get the data, you've got to enter the data and make that time investment. And it is a commitment, and it is sometimes a struggle, I'm not going to lie. But so it doesn't feel overwhelming, it's really important that you start kind of with the basics. So the starting points might be some fields around the type of work, the effort required, so is it low, medium, high? What kind of risk is it? Is it low, medium, high? What's the strategic importance, if you want to rate that, sort of vis-a-vis the company objectives? And also, is the matter being completed in-house, or are you sourcing it, externally? So they're probably some starting points, but I delve a little bit more into that, obviously, in the ebook.
Did you bring in anyone else to help you with the data collection from within the organisation?
So when we rolled out our legal matter management software, we did it as a team. So we always involve IT in our projects and our selection of vendors, but in terms of refining out the fields that we were going to commit to and that we wanted to report out on, that was very much a team effort. And I'm not going to lie, it probably took some 3 months to kind of to really nail. So we had our sort of bare bones, but to really nail it and commit to it and say, yep, that's the frame within which we want to collect our data. It did take a while. And now that we're sort of a year on, we're becoming more data proficient, and we're becoming savvier with what we want to capture, how we want to capture it, and how do we make the capture more efficient. So we're really working with our legal tech vendor to help us on that journey.
That's good. In terms of, in your book, you speak about perfectionism, and you state that to make legal transformation successful, one needs to break processes and sometimes rebuild from the ground up. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. So I think there might be a myth out there that legal tech kind of fixes all your problems, and it's certainly an incredible enabler. But particularly when you're thinking about automating a process or automating an agreement, it may be that you kind of have to map it out and look at it really critically and say, can we do this a better way? Can we standardise? Can we standardise even further? And so, that requires having, a robust conversation potentially as a team, but also having a robust conversation with your stakeholders as you take them on the journey through to how do we make that particular task or that particular process more efficient. So, kind of automation rule 101 is you don't automate an unclear or a non-existent process. So legal tech is not going to miraculously come in and create an efficient process for you. You do have to prepare and plan and get that ready. So it may be that, you do cut out steps, or you do cut out clauses in agreements that are nice to have in a Word document, in a template, but are kind of unnecessary for the end user. When you're looking at the end game. So it's messy. It does take effort. Tech isn't flawless or perfect, and as I said, it's not going to solve all your problems. It's certainly a journey, but I think it's a really rewarding one, and it teaches you a lot actually about how you're delivering the service and how you're practicing law, or how you're working that template. So it definitely is an iterative process, and you need to have the patience for that. You need to think about it being an evolution. So there might be a version 1 and then a version 2 and a version 3, and that's okay.
In your book you mentioned a quote, or I think you said something along the lines, I'm curious how many people have said, I'm not trying to be perfect, I'm just trying to get it right.
Yes. I do talk about that because I think as lawyers, we are, it's this ingrained perfectionism that we have, and I'm certainly not saying be a lesser lawyer, but because technology is constantly evolving, if you kind of wait for it to be perfect, you'll never embrace it. So that's why the mantra for that chapter is choose progress over perfection.
Yeah, I really like that quote. Now, another topic you cover in your book is implementing with inspiration, and I really like this phrase. You say that salted caramel is better than vanilla for managing change.
Yes, so innovation requires a huge amount of effort in terms of managing change. So that may be getting your team on board, or getting yourself on board first and foremost, but then getting your team on board, and then getting a variety of stakeholders potentially on board, and then working with a legal tech vendor to kind of, also get them on board with your vision, and have perhaps some conversations around where tweaks might need to be made in order to kind of get that kind of magical outcome, if I put it that way. And so in my ebook, I talk about managing change effectively, creatively, but also in a way that maximises buy-in. And so this notion of implementing with inspiration, what I really want to convey is that you kind of need to have a clear strategy, you need to have some great comms, but you also need to have the passion, because when you look at a change path, it needs to be inspiring enough and sassy enough for your kind of early innovation adopters, but it needs to be assuring enough for your change resistant population. So I talk about how vanilla messaging, or doing it a vanilla way, an unconventional way, might not cut it, and therefore adding a bit of salted caramel flavouring might be the answer.
Yeah. Now, you've also, you're a big believer on each legal team needs to have their own brand and marketing strategy, which I absolutely love, and I'm sure your team has one at L'Oreal.
Yes, we do.
Why? What have you seen to be the benefits of this?
So I think if I answer this sort of in two parts, yes, we do have a branding strategy for L'Oreal, and again, it was the Australian and New Zealand legal team that created the global legal branding guidelines for the entire team, which again I'm really proud of. But if we sort of step back and always try and think about what's happening in business and what's happening in society and how the legal profession fits into that, I feel sometimes that the legal profession feels exempt from some of the rapid changes that are happening in society and certainly happening in business. So what I'm trying to sort of challenge everyone's thinking on is, I think lawyers now more than ever understand the value of having a personal brand, But let's take it to the next level and think about, in the context of, social media and the fact that we live in a brand-centric world, where does a legal team fit into that? Where does a legal department within a law firm fit into that? And again, is it another incredible opportunity where we can visually and in our style align with the company's objectives or align with their branding? And also then, operate in a way which, as we're all end consumers, but in a way that all end consumers are accustomed to in the current age. So, I think I'm going to call it. I think it's a big must-have for a legal team.
And before we wrap up, can you share some further comment on how others should be maximising their legal well?
So I thought, Lou, I'd be cheeky and say, is this the point where I do the shameless plug for the shameless or not so shameless plug for my eBook? But honestly, I think the one key takeaway is to have law students and lawyers think about innovation not as a project and a nice to have, but as core and a must for a legal team's strategic priorities. And I also like to think of legal innovation as a daily attitude and a daily practice. So my message really is be bold, be curious and be disruptive and do it every day.
There you have it. That is the end of this episode on innovation within law. Thank you for watching and thank you for sharing this video with your friends. And tune in next time where I'll be speaking with more incredible people within the profession and beyond.